So it's an exciting topic that we're going to talk about today, and one that I get a lot of questions on. Mentorship and finding a mentor and the importance of mentorship. And I think that this is a topic that is really underrated. A lot of people don't pay enough attention to it, don't give it as much importance. And that's okay, but it does work for a lot of other people, and I've seen it gather success, a lot of success for many engineers. So, someone is saying applying for new roles and landing interviews. That's great. Excellent. That's excellent. Good. So, welcome for everybody joining me today. We are streaming on multiple platforms. I keep looking to the right because I can see myself. Been learning from you a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you, Talha. Appreciated. I'm also learning from everybody, and I appreciate your kind words and encouragement. That's really good. It's something that makes me really happy when you say so. Hello, Amy. How are you? Good. Seeing a lot of friends in the comments. So I want you to leave any questions or comments below. And of course, as always, I would like this session to be as interactive as possible. So please leave the comments and ask questions and fire away. And excuse the beard. I haven't had the chance to shave or get a haircut, but we won't let that come between us. Okay, nothing will stop us from going live, even if it's you know, sadness and upset from yesterday as Man United keep on losing, but that's okay. That's life. So if the audio and video are coming through to you, okay, please comment and let me know. We're just going to give it a few seconds for more people to join us, and I will try my best, but I can't promise. But I'll always, as always, I say, I try to not go over an hour. So let's see. I cannot get hold of you on LinkedIn for CV review. So sorry if there is a delay between your comment and the live, but that's how it works. Unfortunately, there is a bit of a lag between the comments showing up on my feed and me reading them or finding them. Um, you will get hold of me for CV review. That's not a problem. I'll make sure to get back to you. I will get back to you, Simbarashi. Okay. Sometimes it's just difficult because although I'm active on LinkedIn, I'm not on LinkedIn all day. I've got work to do. So just ping me a message on Substack and I will get back to you. That's for sure. Okay. I always like to share about how my week is going, and this week has been quite interesting. Again, we are recruiting again, we are growing again. So there's more work, and the energy division is growing, and we have a lot of good challenges to enjoy. It's a brilliant time to be an electrical engineer, and it's a good time to be in the energy construction industry. So let me know in the comments, what are you working on? Of course, if it is something you can share with the rest of us about, don't share anything sensitive or any of that stuff. But if you are working on an interesting project, or have you learned something this week? So someone was telling me they have been applying for roles and landing interviews. So tell me, what was the most interesting question you got asked in an interview? Let's just share. And yeah, so let me know, how did your interview go? Um, did you get asked something interesting? Did you meet interesting people? Did you learn something new? How was your day? How was your week? How has it been going for you? Did anybody work on anything interesting? Let me know. And of course, as always, welcome again to my live. And I think today is number 20. So I've been going live for once a week, or at least now twice a week. I'm starting to like this live thing. But on LinkedIn, it's once every Thursday. I try to make it around 7 p.m. Although sometimes I might make it earlier, 6:30 British Standard Time, of course. Community engagement, says Amy. Very good. Well done. That's what we like, engaging with our community. Excellent. Excellent work. So, today we're going to talk about mentorship. And I'm really excited about this because a lot of people gained brilliant and good stuff from mentorship. And I've seen it with engineers I've worked with. I've seen it with people I look up to, everybody that I admire in terms of their work, their success, their demeanor, etc. And I always ask people. I'm a person who is known for asking direct questions sometimes to learn, and I like to learn from everybody. And um, everyone I ask, whom I think is successful or got something to look up to, they tell me they've benefited from mentorship, and they tell me about their mentorship stories, being mentored by someone, being sometimes having more than one mentors. And it's a very, very interesting topic, but also very important topic. And I don't see many people benefiting from it as much as they should be. So that's why I wanted to bring it up today. And I've received a lot of questions on that as well over the last few weeks, few months. So I've tried, as always, to gather the questions and put them on the live to answer today. So I want this to be more interactive. I'll answer the questions towards the end, but let me know if you have any questions or any comments in the comment section below. And for those who are joining me for the first time or don't know me, hi, my name is Mohammed. I work as a director of design for Aureus. We build substations and grid connections. I've been in the substation construction and high voltage grid projects, field and industry for over 17 years now. Um, yeah, I've worked in different countries, worked in different organizations. I've been really lucky to work on some of the most interesting projects out there in terms of when it comes to substations. And a lot of people tell me, "Oh, why are you doing this on LinkedIn?" Or what's so interesting about this? Well, I want to share the knowledge, but I also think that more people should be doing this. So take it as an encouragement, please. If you've got something to talk about or discuss or get out there, just please spread the knowledge and inform others. And more importantly, as well, LinkedIn has been, a very interesting and it's been great. It's a great source of information for me and knowledge and learning. And I want to connect with engineers, especially the interesting engineers, and it's my number one source of personal growth at the moment. Um, to learn what's happening out there, to see how we are all developing as an industry, and I want to push myself as well and learn from others. But also public speaking and presentation and communication, they're all skills that need practicing, and that's the aim here. So that's what I'm trying to do as well, selfishly, regularly practicing going live and communicating, speaking, etc. So if you're joining me live, please give me the thumbs up. I can tell you about a few, aspects and different sources of information I found in this regard. So I started writing and publishing on LinkedIn for 2 years now. and LinkedIn tells me that it has reached 500 and something thousand people. I don't know, in the last 12 months alone, which is crazy. I learn, and I'm still learning something new every day and every week. Good messages, keep them coming, please. And look, I mean, I'm really interested in growing as a writer. So I like writing a lot. I write on Substack. I write on LinkedIn. By the way, on Substack you'll find all the videos, all the articles that I've written so far, all the different resources, and I'm really interested in helping engineers, specifically electrical engineers, but also getting you know um, different ideas and insights from the younger engineers out there, and people again ahead of me, and people who are in similar situations, and as I said, there is a lot of people out there working on interesting stuff, studying interesting stuff, talking about very interesting stuff, and it's a really really attractive topic. Electrical engineering, and it's very diverse. It's got a lot of specialities and subspecialties within those specialities, so it's a great field, and it keeps me going. So we are going to talk today about mentorship, and I want you to tell me in the comments if you have already been mentored, if you have a mentor, if you have more than one mentor, if you've been mentored in the past, but what was the experience you had with mentorship, and whether you're mentoring someone yourself. So please let me know. And I found a lot of interesting topics, or interesting aspects about this topic throughout my career. So I've worked with people, as I said, in different countries, and people from different backgrounds, different, um, professional and cultural backgrounds. But the one thing that I found interesting is that uh, a lot of the successful engineers were mentored by someone, whether directly, indirectly, whether they knew it or not at the time, of course. And some of them, especially some of the most successful engineering managers I met and leaders in engineering, uh, they did have a strong mentor, and they had an effective, mentorship relationship with a mentor or more. So these are all things that we're going to explore today. And this is just from looking at and observing engineers, successful engineers, people who are struggling, people who have progressed further in their careers and faster, and those who seemed to stagnate perhaps and maybe struggle, and those who are content. I know a lot of engineers who are doing things for years and decades, and they are so happy, and that's admirable, and we need to learn from those people as well, because that's what we are here for. We're here to live, experience life, enjoy life, and be happy, be safe, be healthy. And as usual, I'll try to dissect some, of these aspects, some of these areas. And um, sorry, I'm getting some messages here for some reason, but yeah. And we'll try to break things. My approach is always to try to break things into little or smaller things, or smaller steps that we can learn and apply easily. And these smaller steps, although they're small, they're manageable, they're achievable, but they accumulate over time with consistency. They can make a huge difference. And if you get to know these little things, then you can focus on, taking these smaller actions and really directing your career towards a successful way, or towards a goal that you target, etc. So we'll attempt to shed more light, or some light, on the importance of mentorship, how some engineers are benefiting from it, and where do you find it, how to ask for advice in that kind of conversation, and please, if you have any questions on mentorship, just drop them in the comments and I'll answer them today. And of course, as always, the full recording will be on Substack, and I'm not sure if I will leave the recording on LinkedIn. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on the logistics and the size of the or the length and duration of the video, and you know, I'm starting to feel that Substack is a really interesting place, and it's the best place to share the knowledge. You know, it's got a better interface. You control your feed, so you don't get bombarded by stuff that's not useful or not relevant. I mean, LinkedIn is also starting to fix some of these problems, but there is definitely still an issue with LinkedIn showing stuff that irrelevant. We are on LinkedIn because we don't want the other stuff that is on the other social media platforms. We're just here to learn, and some of us are really interested and focused on professional aspects and career topics or career related topics and engineering related topics. So we're not interested in many other things on LinkedIn. But that's the nature of the beast. Anyway, so we'll try to cover a number of aspects when it comes to mentorship. And I've got many things to talk about today, but mainly we'll try to cover 5 things. The first one is we want to explain what mentorship is. What does it look like? What's a successful mentorship? What are the different parts or elements of successful mentorship, engagement or relationship or whatever call it? But the second thing we want to also talk about is why is it important? What benefits does it really offer? I mean, maybe someone listening to this today would question, why do I need a mentor? I'm doing fine, and I don't need a mentor. Well, if you know what you need and what you don't need, then that's good for you. But at the same time, there are obstacles that people are facing that don't know they're facing, or they don't know the solution to that could be easily some kind of mentorship. Okay. The third aspect or the third topic related to mentorship is the nature of mentors. We want to talk about mentors, what makes a good mentor, what makes a not so good mentor, where to find mentors, and how to engage successfully with them, and how to maximize the output of a mentorship engagement. And also, another area I want to talk about is explaining in a little bit more detail um, the outcomes of a successful mentorship. What does that look like? What is, what can mentorship help with, and what can mentorship really not help with? Okay. What can a mentor do? What can a mentor not do? And how can they accelerate your growth and your career development as an engineer? And especially when it comes to growth, career development, we have to understand that there is no one size that fits all. These terms or labels or whatever you want to call them, words, they mean different things to different people. So growth for me might mean something different to a colleague or a peer of mine, and growth for you today is different to 5 years ago, is different to the last year, is going to be different in 10, 15 years. So we gotta always think of the labels and take them within useful contexts. Do not try to deal with labels in an abstract manner. They gotta be in a useful context. Tell me in the comments, how's it going so far? Are there any observations? Do you have any comments? Do you have any questions? Let me know. And we are going to explore some of these topics today in areas, especially those 5 areas, and give examples, give practicable advice, and hopefully exercises and things that you could apply easily. Okay. So let's dive in. What is mentorship and what does it mean? You know, for people who are not aware, or at least for people who would like to revisit the concept. Well, let's start with defining what it is and what it isn't, because that's important to manage your expectations, and it's important to learn, to know more about what you're looking for and what you can expect, and basically achieve and seek, or seek and achieve in that order. So it's a relationship between. Well, thank you. Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much. It's a relationship between a mentor and a mentee. Of course, it's basic. I know, makes sense. Yeah, of course, that's very basic. But the mentee is the person who is aiming to advance their career or achieve a certain goal, progress in a certain way, or maybe they are, struggling with a specific problem or an obstacle, or in um, a situation that they find tricky in their career at some certain point or stage in their career. Um, and the mentor is usually the person with the experience that is willing to help. And for me, there are two things that make the mentor helpful. Mainly, it's the relevant. First of all, do they have the necessary experience? So it's got to be around whether they have the right experience, the necessary minimum level of experience. And the second element is the relevancy, or, you know, how relevant is their experience. And that's very important. A lot of people might be giving advice, especially online, and that advice might seem very trivial to people or to some, and it might feel, on the other hand, very useful for others. Why? Because that person giving the advice at that level has got what is deemed as relevant experience, or the adequate level of experience compared to the receiver, and that's normal. So this is why people should be more kind online and on LinkedIn and social media, because when you read something you might feel it's below you, or you can ridicule it, etc. But it doesn't mean that it is the same for everybody else, and it doesn't mean you may be blessed, you may be ahead of others, you may be lucky, you may have, of course, worked hard, whatever. Okay. But in most cases, things don't apply similarly for everybody. Okay. And this is you know, I sometimes write stuff and then get like comments from people who are in different industries, at different, like, maybe levels above me in terms of career wise, from different cultures, whatever, from different countries, even, okay, hours away. And they might come in and say a comment, and I read the comments, and there are some comments that you could learn from, but others that you feel, well, you're missing the point, and actually I'm not really talking to you, I'm talking to someone else. So try to understand that, because when you are looking for a mentor or choosing a mentor, they gotta have the adequate level of experience and the relevant type of experience. These are the two things that I think makes the mentor fit or not for a certain mentee. And in order for mentorships to be effective, they need certain elements. And we're going to try and explore some of these elements, because without them, mentorship or that engagement can be ineffective. And the first one for me is always, structure. And I like structure, but sometimes, in some cases, I like chaos. But when you have something such as a mentorship, you're talking about goals, you're talking about obstacles, you're talking about things or elements that you are struggling with in your career. So structure is important because it makes a lot of sense around these goals. It needs to be clear in terms of um, it needs to be clear in terms of a structure, um, in terms of what both parties are expected to carry out during this engagement. So, what are you expecting out of your mentor, and what is the mentor expecting you to um, react or interact with or as? And two elements of a good mentorship or a successful, effective mentorship is or are strategically and in a development way. So developmental, if that makes sense. Strategically, because mentorship and this is my favorite part about mentorship. The big part about mentorship is stuff that is not in the books, stuff that is not available readily anywhere else, um, other than through valuable human interaction. And this is where strategy means direction. It means philosophy. It means situational awareness. It means plans and other what others might think or consider as high level kind of advice. This is what I mean by the strategic level, and this is important. I mean, strategy is important in organizations, but also for us as engineers, we need to have a strategy for our career trajectory, for our career choices, for our options. And this is where I feel mentorship has helped me in the past, and mentorship is quite effective. And the other element is developmental, which means basically covering specific, tangible aspects. So it's no longer the high level, the directional stuff. We're talking about specific stuff. If somebody needs help with their communication skills, how do you, as a mentor, or how would a mentor recommend the right steps to take to grow that? So the actionable tasks that develop or help develop the mentee, and of course specificity. So it's got to be specific. It has to specifically address and target certain development areas. Although I like mentorship, or I like to be engaged with a mentor and talk to a mentor in a free flow manner. So I like to basically get help from a mentor as a sounding board, effectively. Talk ideas with them. And I'll be honest, you can't share everything with a mentor. There are some things that you might want to keep to yourself. And we're all humans, we all feel about insecurities and other things that we might not feel 100% confident or comfortable to share with others. That's just normal. So again, you got to be specific about the goals. So if you have a mentor, be specific about your goals, be upfront about them, and see what they can help you with some of these goals. Because perhaps I'll give you examples, but some mentors are out there to help people returning to work after long breaks, or other mentors are really useful and helpful when it comes to career transitions. So if somebody is transitioning from a career to another, and I've got a question in the comments about career transitions, but I'll get to that. Don't know where it went though, but it was there. Someone was asking me about career transition. Or was I? Maybe. There was a question about career transitions, so I'll get to that. But also growing into bigger roles, getting promoted or progressing, whatever progressing means in your opinion. But that is something that certainly a mentor can help with. So I want you to let me know, comment please, what areas did a mentor help you with? So, or is there a certain area or goal that you would like a mentor to help you with? Let me know in the comments, please. I can share with you. I'm checking the comments here. Yeah, but tell me, what do you feel like? Is there a certain goal you're thinking of that you would like a mentor to help you with? Could it be, growing into a lead engineer or an engineering manager, or could it be um, transitioning? Someone said from LV to HV. So these are all um, a lot of interchangeable and common skills there. I mean, for me, for examples, it would be around learning how to become a general manager, maybe with a wider remit. I feel that maybe I'm heading in that direction. Perhaps somebody who could transition, or me transitioning into a more like general manager type role. Maybe the at the moment I'm focused on what I'm doing and really interested in in what I'm doing. So, but you never know. Maybe I speak to my mentor and feel that it's time now to widen my perspective and consider something different to push myself out of my comfort zone, if you like, and develop further. Because again, that's one of the interesting things about the times we're living in. The changes are just quite drastic and dramatic. And so someone is saying communication skills, technical skills. Excellent. Yeah, excellent. But yeah, it has to be specific. So the goals could be around certain skills, like Ahmed has said, communication, public speaking, presentation. So it's basically around specifically telling the mentor or engaging with the mentor around developing a specific skill. Another element of a mentorship or effective mentorship, conversation or engagement would be, and this is my favorite, is around navigating careers. And this is where I said earlier, you use your mentor as a sounding board, because they might listen to you and not judge, but then give you some sort of interesting direction, or perhaps bring up something that you didn't think of or consider before. And that is because they either witnessed it themselves, or they have seen it with another person. So we can learn a lot from people who witnessed career stories, either themselves or from others. So look, we mainly learn, and one of the biggest learning methods for humans is stories. So if someone tells you a story of their career, that will stay with you for a long time. And certainly, this is one of the things I really enjoy, listening to people's stories, and how they got to where they are at the moment in time on all levels. This is just something that intrigues me. And a lot of this is not in the books, as I said, traditionally passed down from person to person or generation to the next. And this is where mentorship is a big part of the process. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Is it still? Am I still there? Or did you lose me? Did you lose me? Or am I still there? No? Let me know in the comments, or give me a thumbs up or something, because My iPad is playing up. Okay, I'll carry on anyway. But remember, it's an exchange, so it's not really one sided, and we're not in school anymore. So although I enjoy being, listening to someone who's got more knowledge or something to add, and I enjoy listening to most people about something I could learn from them. Uh, but mentorship is not as most people think. It's not just one sided. You'd be surprised, but mentors get benefit from the relationship too. Okay. Because and you'd think, oh, what would a mentor gain from mentoring me? Well, every learning experience is always unique and new in with respect to the person involved, with respect to their circumstances, the organization, the timing, and many factors that will help the mentor themselves get feedback on that process, on what they think works or doesn't work, and update their own knowledge and experience as well. So that's also the learning element for mentors. Okay. Um, One other element for a mentorship engagement to be useful is that it has to happen over regular interactions. It's not like sparingly or ad hoc, or it could be, of course, in some cases, because some people are really busy. Uh, but usually, a successful and efficient mentorship will involve enough touch points, and the frequency has to be adequate. Otherwise, if there aren't enough touch points to follow up on the development actions, on the conversations, on the changes in direction, then um, it could be deemed as not serious. And the best and the most successful mentorship relationships I've witnessed or seen will have measurable objectives. So, like anything else, and I know this might sound boring to a lot of people, but you can find an interesting way to do it. You can find a way that makes it, easier, enjoyable, and fun, and passable as well. You can pass the time while doing it, so it doesn't feel like a burden. Because if you're interested in that kind of thing, it shouldn't really. But again, objectives can be set in different ways, and again, it's down to the mentor and their experience to help you with some of it. Without agreed targets, I'm afraid there won't be there won't be a measure, and you won't be able to measure the results of the engagement, of the interaction. And that means that at the best scenario, you didn't really learn much, but at the worst you might have you know um wasted time and effort, etc. And of course, being in a good mentorship or a useful mentorship um, means that it is adaptable, it is changeable, and it because your needs change as a human and as a professional. So you might discover new aspects that mean you change direction in your career, or find connect with different values that you discover in yourself, or find more about yourself, about your career choices, about what you prefer. So there is a lot to consider. Okay, now we are halfway through. Tell me in the comments if you have any questions, and I will start putting on the screen what um, what you have sent me. Talha saying doing great, but applying for new roles and landing good interview. Good, excellent, that's well done. Amy saying community engagement. So you've been busy with community engagement. Excellent, well done. Someone is saying I can't get a hold of you on LinkedIn. Yeah, unfortunately, as I told you, I'm really busy, And you could catch me on Substack. So if you send me a message on Substack, I'll try my best to help you. Um, but you could get a lot of, there's a lot of people out there who review CVs for a living. So you could basically just get some help. And there are many tools online that could assess the CV for you and help you with that. So don't wait on me, please, because um, I might not get back to you um, in short time. So apologies in advance, but I am really really busy. And although, as I said, I'm active on LinkedIn, but I'm not on LinkedIn all the time. What I usually do is write posts and then schedule them, so they do get out without me actually being on the platform. Okay, so I'm working on my AutoCAD skills. Interviews go well, but they don't reply for unknown reasons. I think it's because right to work, perhaps because everything else always falls. Um, okay, but you could ask them, like, try to get feedback from the people who don't respond with feedback very politely, because people are busy. Sometimes people, might be worried to upset you, and I get that, but at the same time, we try to give feedback to people. And in big organizations, things could take time, things could get lost easily. I'm not saying that's an excuse to anybody, but try to have some kind of empathy for also the recruiters who are very very busy and trying to genuinely help people. So what I would suggest to you is send them a polite note saying, thank you for the opportunity, um, and I really learned something from something. Phil, you have to fill. Don't say I learned something. Just say I learned this and this about about the organization, or about a certain thing that from speaking with you or from interacting with you. So try to give a meaningful, and please don't use, like, if you're going to use AI, make sure to use it in a way that still, excuse me, still comes across personable and meaningful, because a lot of the AI stuff is just nonsense. Okay, I get messages all the time saying how excited they are about this and that, and most of the time, honestly, 99.99% of the time, is irrelevant stuff. So be careful, because you're practically wasting your opportunities. So back to Talha, you could basically send them saying, look, thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed the process, and tell them something you liked about the process. And if there's something you didn't like about the process, for sure, raise it, but politely, respectfully, in a nice way, in a constructive way. But try to make it concise and to the point, and ask them a direct question, was it because my right to work? Please confirm. It's just as simple as that. Because if that's the thing you feel, then it could be. Of course, right to work is one of the main um, considerations. How about the career shift from LV to HV? Excellent. So there's nothing. I don't think Samuel. I don't think anything is stopping you from. First of all, LV is, of course, different to HV in terms of safety rules, in terms of relevant standards, specifications. But you got to understand as well that HV differs according to client, industry, project type. So there are certain. You gotta just do your research about, if you get an opportunity or a certain opportunity to apply for an HV role. Do your homework, do your research, try to get some certifications related to the HV. And there will be roles out there that are looking for people like yourself. So try to find those roles, try to find those employers, try to find those people or recruiters or hiring managers who are looking for people like yourself, because there's always the need for competent people, and a lot of these competencies and skill sets and experiences are useful and interchangeable. Okay, so if we get, for instance, somebody applying for a role from an LV background, we don't discount them, we don't just reject them. Of course, it depends on the competition, but at the same time, I think most of the employers would be open for somebody from an LV background because all these skills, they're learnable. Okay, it's all about what you can demonstrate as a competence, as a skill set, as an attitude in your job application. So far, it makes perfect sense. Well, thank you very much. I hope it does. Thank you. Appreciate your kind words and encouragement. Um, Someone is asking about sponsorship with Ben BEng only electrical. So you're asking about my employer. All views here, of course, are my own. They're not my employers. So if you have a question about, um, recruitment or um, a role with my employer, please ask the recruitment team. Okay, you'll find all their details on the careers page and on LinkedIn, and they are really good, nice, helpful people. And you can just email them or send them questions. Okay. Ahmed says communication skills, technical skills needed to land an electrical role. New technologies introduced in the industry through papers and newsletters. Excellent, yeah. That's really good. Communication skills very important, of course. This is how you can come across as a strong candidate in interviews. This is how your, other engagements and interactions can come across strongly and set you apart from the competition. The technical skills needed to land an electrical role. I think it depends on the role. But mainly for me in design, it's going to be, of course, CAD. It's going to be other organization and project management skills and new technologies introduced in the industries through papers. And that's very important because they would make good talking points and they would prove that you are enthusiastic and involved and keen and eager as a candidate to get into this career. So, all the best, Ahmed. Right. Talha saying at the moment I'm struggling with landing on an entry level role and finding it difficult to find a reach there. I'll be needing mentorship in this area maybe. Okay. Um, that struggling is normal. Okay. And when we are struggling, sometimes it's a matter of timing, but a lot of the times it's a matter of something that we are missing. So you gotta be finding someone to help you with trying to find out what is missing, if there is anything missing. And one of these areas that you could help or get help is through feedback from interviews. So what we talked about earlier, be specific, ask for feedback, ask for direct specific feedback, and try to explain to them that this is, you're asking for help. You need this to help you um, develop and progress further. And yeah, mentorship can help you with that. I'm sure it can, but if you're missing something, you know, I don't know who talked about right to work, and right to work can be an obstacle, for many people. But in that case, you gotta try something different. That's as simple as that. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you gotta try. When we're struggling, we need to try different things to understand where are we struggling, what can we do about it, and whether um, whether there is something that you could do about it, or just a matter of persistence and carrying on. Ruchi is saying, throughout my career, I've been fortunate to have mentors who have shaped my professional growth. In my previous role, a colleague played a significant mentoring role. Positive. That's good. Excellent. Well done. And I think that's the best, the best, I won't say the best, but it's very, very important to have someone at work who could help you and support you. That makes a big difference. It makes life much, much easier. And It makes progress quicker and easier as well. Having someone believe in your potential boosts self-confidence, helping you learn faster than. Yes, exactly. So very good point, Ruchi. So um, why is mentorship successful or effective? It's because of that, and we will get into that next. Ahmed saying you're still here. Good. Okay. I want advice on how to make. Sorry. I want advice on how to make a person, whether through an interview or conversation, make him believe in you or your potential. Is that a communication skill issue? How do you know they don't believe in you? So um, this is one of the biggest like misconceptions is that we go to interviews and then come back and we're not maybe particularly successful in that particular occasion, and then we feel that it's something to do with how we came across. Sometimes it's just a timing issue, or it's just timing. you know and I've explained this before. When you are applying for a role, sometimes you can be one of maybe tens of people who are a good fit for the role. If you are invited to an interview, which you said you have, whether through an interview, that means you are already deemed almost fit or deemed fit for the role. Most probably you're 99% there. If you don't get shortlisted, that could be because someone else has only marginally, um, you know, performed better on the day. Does that mean you don't have potential or you don't have skill? No, it happens to all of us. All of us. Um, the important thing here is to keep like an open and positive mindset about it. I know it hurts. I know I've been there. It hurts, and we're all humans. But deal with the emotion. And um, I talked about it a lot of times. But you can go back to the video about how to request for feedback, how to learn from rejections in interviews, etc. And that could be more helpful to you. But if you have more questions, let me know. And is that a communication skill issue? It could be. I don't know. I mean, it could be. Just get feedback. Again, as I said to Talha earlier, request some feedback on this in the next interview. Just ask about it. But I would really doubt it because maybe I don't know. I can't tell. I gotta be honest, or try to be as honest as possible. I cannot tell without interviewing somebody for a certain role and then you know making up on my mind about any other questions. Any other questions? Where are we now? Uh, shall we call it a day or shall we carry on? We're almost at an hour. Please let me know. Let me know in the comments. Do you want to carry on or shall we call it a day? Okay. Shall we carry on? Okay. When it comes to mentorships, people were always mentoring each other. It's not a new thing, and it's something that's been around for many, many, many ages. Whether people knew it or not, they were mentored. We were all mentored in some way or form, sometimes unaware of it. And corporates who are successful will have embedded mentorship programs because they always want to keep that pulse and they always want to make sure that people are engaged, they are learning, they're progressing, they're growing, and they are also engaged. So that's nothing new. Um, so our first takeaway, or one of the first takeaways from today, I want you to do a little exercise. Okay, a small exercise in 3 steps. So if you are listening, let me know and I'll give you the 3 steps. Okay, the 3 steps. The first one is just identify an area. And some of you have already said in the comments communication skills, landing a role, asking for feedback, etc., etc. So identify an area or a goal that you want to work with. And then the second step would be look for a mentor in your organization, work, and we're going to talk about where to find, mentors, but find somebody that you feel would be a good mentor for you and ask them. The third step would be, well, before the third step, it's got to be somebody, as we said, with the two things or the two check boxes that I mentioned. Okay. Adequate level of experience. So someone who's got enough experience, in your opinion, and the relevancy of the experience. So someone who has to be relevant or with relevant experience to you. So it could be someone that you just feel might be ahead of you, even if it's just only two or one step ahead of you in your career. That's okay. And the third one is the tricky step: is to approach them, reach out to them, and ask them, would they be open to mentoring you, and see what they say, and think about asking them, how would you mentor me? An important thing about being mentored is, is that it's proved by research, as we said. Ruchi, I think earlier said about, it's important, it's positive learning and all that. Um, but it's proven by research that we learn in that way, more than many other ways. And why is it effective? It gives you a sense of, I believe, it gives you a sense that you're not on your own. There are people by your side. There are that mentor is on your team. So it's very important to feel that somebody experienced is on your team and by your side. And of course, the feedback you get through mentorship is personalized. That's what makes it very, very effective. So it's like no other feedback. And you could be receiving feedback at the workplace, but there are other areas, there might be many other. Um, Sorry, there's a helicopter outside of the window. So it's making a lot of noise. I don't know if the noise is coming through the microphone, but anyway. But your mentor will be honest, because they wouldn't be worried about, upsetting you, or they would just, if you establish the mentorship relationship to be on honest and just direct level, which I like it to be. I like my mentor to tell me to my face, directly, no sugarcoating, right? And look, there are many benefits of mentorship as shown by research. So I want you to also do another exercise, which is also very helpful. So try to do these exercises and send me what you found, what you think, what did you notice, what did you learn. So the second exercise is find somebody that you look up to or admire and ask them, did you get mentored? And try to see how were they mentored? How did it affect them? How did they learn from it? And how did they progress? Okay. Right. Let's see. What have we got next? We can go through the live questions. Does anybody have any other questions before we move to the past questions that have been asked before? So someone did send me saying, how do I find a mentor in my field? And this is one of the common questions. You can find a mentor in your field, either in your organization or through your network online, or one of my favorite ways, or most favorite ways, is with the industry organizations and things, in the industry, basically groups that are out there. That's how you find a mentor, and you will, you can gain access to a lot of mentors. There are a lot of also websites out there that include databases of mentors, and you could choose a mentor, and of course it's going to be a paid mentorship. But there are other organizations or kind of industry groups that offer mentorships through volunteers. So there will be people, volunteering to mentor people like you. Okay, right. Another question is, what should I look for in a potential mentor? And we mentioned about the experience, so it's got to be a adequate level of experience, but also the relevancy of the experience. So they got to be someone who you believe went through similar circumstances or maybe achieved something you're looking to or up to. So there's got to be a common theme between you and the mentor. And this is where I think I would, for personally, if I'm going for a mentor, I would find someone whom I feel is a good communicator, someone who could articulate things, someone who's good with people, because that's what I like to be and improve on. So you know, there are people out there who fit that criteria. How do I approach someone to be my mentor? I think respectfully and politely, and respecting people's privacy, time. It would be great and best if you only um, approach people who are open for mentoring you. So again, if people are advertising that as a service on websites, or if they are part of, as I said, working professional and industrial groups, and they are happy to mentor people, then you could basically approach them. And then the second thing is to approach them, with a direct message, saying that, look, direct kind of message, not direct message, but basically say, I need help with communications. I need help with progressing into a leadership role. I need help with becoming, a project manager, whatever it is, uh, but be direct and specific. And the third thing is, be, as I said, respectful of their time, give them enough time to respond. Don't, spam them with following up. If you follow up once after some time and you get no response, then they're probably not open for it. So, yeah. Another question is, right. I've got two questions. Wow. Is asking for an internship beneficial after being refused from the role? You could, yeah, if they offer internships. But again, and this is a good point, a lot of companies offer internships and don't advertise it. Um, and maybe because they're not really thinking of it until they are offered the opportunity to have an intern. So by all means, you could draft a cover letter and start exploring those kind of opportunities. Internships are so underrated. They're very important, and I started 20 years ago as an intern. In the summer, I went to work in, protection, commissioning and testing on site, and I was just mind blown. Okay, so I was hooked ever since. Can my boss become my mentor? Yes, yeah, there's nothing stopping that. But you got to understand that your manager is probably going to be a line manager for others as well. And they got to have to mentor them as much as they mentor you, so there's going to be an equal opportunities um, aspect to it. So just be aware of that, they're not only mentoring you, they're mentoring others as well. But yes, definitely, having your line manager mentor you, or fully or partially, whatever, is really beneficial. There's nothing stopping you from that. But I would also like or prefer that you have other mentors other than your line managers. So in addition to your line manager, have other mentors, because sometimes your line manager might be too busy to mentor 10, 15 people in a way that another mentor might be dedicated more. Should I have multiple mentors, or just so? That's a good question leading from the other one. Yeah, I think multiple mentors work. I like to have a mentor around career navigation, but others that I could basically reach out to help me with some aspects. I'll tell you a story. When I first moved to the UK, worked here as a lead engineer, a senior engineer. Um, I just basically asked one of my colleagues. He was a project manager. He was senior to me. He had a lot of experience. I asked him, "Look, could you mentor me?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. What do you want?" And I started like asking him for specific advice, feedback. I got direct feedback from him, especially on the culture because I came from a different culture. I came from a different place, and there are a lot of aspects that I would miss out on noticing or even knowing about. There's a lot of stuff that happen around us that we could be oblivious to because we're not from the same culture. Little things, and this is where I asked and asked and asked the question, and he helped me big time. Uh, there were other forms of mentorship as well. It wasn't only him, but there was another person who helped me. Like gave me advice on how to settle in a new place in the UK. It's new. I've traveled before. I've worked in other countries before, but every country, every place is different. So you need that kind of mentorship, and this is where mentorship, as I said earlier, it could be around transitions. It could be around coming back from a break. It could be around a long break. It could be around many different contexts. Let's put it this way. So, yes, I think more than one mentor can be helpful, but focusing with one mentor is also excellent and very good. Um, right. How often should I meet with my mentor? It depends on what you're working on. So, if it's just career navigations, I think once a month, once every 2 months, 3 months is good. But if it's working on something that is quite progressing, quicker than that, then it could be once a month or once every couple of weeks. So it all depends on what you are actually targeting. But I prefer once a month at least. What should we discuss in mentorship meetings? You set a target, you talk about it. But I like, my favorite when I talk to a mentor is really career navigation. Sometimes I feel like, am I in the right career? Am I, like, and it takes some kind of, it's like therapy, really, in a way, but someone to talk you into trying to find out and trying to explore different angles about what you're thinking of. So it's like thinking out loud with someone, but that someone could be more experienced and, definitely more experienced, more got a wider perspective on things. That would, that, when you talk to those people, you get a wider view on problems, on issues, on life in general, career, of course, wise, and then you get more and more useful context. And that's very useful because that could put your mind at ease. It could help you focus and continue, um, striving in a certain direction, etc. So I would really agree with my mentor to basically have a free flow conversation um, around, like, my aspirations, my insecurities sometimes, how I feel I lack, etc. Do you think I should do something differently? Open ended questions, really, or you know sparking different conversations with the mentor. But I would also like to discuss different targets, like, I'm working on, you know building my personal brand, for example, on LinkedIn, whatever. How do you think I'm progressing? So I've got a mentor actually a social media mentor, and shout out to him. His name is Ahmed Mamdouh, and he's an excellent YouTube and social media trainer, and He's just a brilliant guy. I'll put his. I don't know if he's watching me. Are you watching? I don't know. Maybe he's very busy and he's got loads of students, and he's an excellent engineer as well. And I don't want to give away his age, but when I was I've known him for many, many, many years. When I was a very young engineer starting out, and I traveled to Saudi Arabia to work on a project and attend some project meetings, etc. He was already there, an established engineering manager, and he's a great role model. And look, I mean, he's one of my mentors. I speak to him about social media, about what I'm trying to do online, about my online presence, about creating videos. He's the one who's told me you should go live. So here you go. That's a mentor that has helped me. And look, people like him are available, and he won't, um, he's very honest. He tells me feedback, he gives me direct feedback, and it's brilliant. Yeah. So there's a lot of people like Ahmed and like mentor like him, who mentor people. So find the good mentors. How long should a mentorship relationship last? Well, with one person, I mean, with the mentors, it really depends on the objective, and I think that you should like change mentorships, definitely. There is a lot more to learn from different people, and you could have the person that you talk to long term, but I think that you know having like a set timeline for it is also very beneficial, because then it puts like it makes it like timed. It makes it a good target, and then you move on. Yeah. And you move forward, and that's one of the milestones. How do I set goals with my mentor? So I think for this, refer to my previous video about, did we do how to plan your career? Did we do career planning? I did a training for career planning a while ago. Right, interest. If you're interested, just let me know in the comments. I'll send it to you. I haven't published it, but it is a training that explains like how do you set goals, how to plan for your careers, how do I do it, and what are the best methods that I found that work. So if you're interested in that, just write in the comments career planning, or whatever, and I'll send it to you. Okay. How can I become mentorable? I think a growth mindset is all about keeping an open mindset, learning. There's always something to learn from others. There's always something that could be done better. Don't take things personally. Don't be defensive. Of course, we're humans and we'll feel defensive and all that, but try to deal with those emotions and move into the positive and useful action that you could take to develop yourself. Okay. So being mentorable is about asking the right questions, is about also following up correctly, is about actually doing the work. Don't expect the mentor to do the work for you. That's not what a mentor is for, and they'll probably, quickly avoid you because they're there to give advice and to also find that their advice has been successful. So no mentor would want to waste their time with someone who's not taking enough action. Yeah, just as simple as that. Should I offer to pay my mentor if they accept payments? Sure, because there are, as I said, websites out there that have got mentors, and they can offer mentorship services, etc. So by all means, you can pay a mentor, or you could hire a mentor. Yeah. What if I don't want to agree with my mentor on a piece of advice? Yeah, I mean, politely and say, look, this is not working for me. I don't think this is, applicable to me, or I don't feel this is. But again, give them also the benefit of the doubt and try to give it enough space and time and effort to try something. Because, as I told you before, when we are struggling, we need to try different things. And sometimes we don't know about these different things. We take someone else with the experience, with the right levels, ahead of us and knowledge ahead of us to tell us, you need to try something differently. That's usually it. If it was obvious to everybody, everybody would be doing it. But unfortunately, it isn't. And some of that knowledge is only passed through, um, people to you. What's the difference between mentorship and coaching? I think they're very close. They're very similar, but um, coaching is quite specific, and it could be. So I could be, I don't know. Someone could coach me um, visualization techniques, breathing techniques, yoga. I don't know, self improvement, things like that. CV writing. So that could be a coach. But mentorship is usually career, or it's related to a certain career, a certain path. So a mentor is usually someone who is really, really specific and relevant to where you are in terms of an ecosystem, in terms of a environment, industry, line of work, etc. Now there are coaches in that as well, but usually a coach is about like a different, like a skill or a specific, really specific target and goal, while mentorships is a bit of that. But as I said earlier, I told you earlier, it's about those free flowing conversations around what can work, what cannot work, what do I need to try differently, etc. Okay. Is there anybody else? Have we got any other questions? I'll take another one more question. So please write down in the comments if you have any more questions before I move on or call it a day. Do I need a sponsor? Okay, so a sponsor is different to a mentor. A sponsor is someone within usually the organization who would work with somebody or think that or help someone to transition into a business leadership role or a management role or a promotion or whatever. And usually, organizations that recognize talent will assign a sponsor. And that could be like an internal mentor, if you like, or an in-house mentor, and that could be how it works. But really, a sponsor is about facilitating and making sure that things are in place to help that person progress within the organization. That's what a sponsor is. So they would, move resource. They would allocate, different resources, etc., to help that person develop and progress for the benefit of the organization and, of course, the individual. Right. So, if there are no other comments or questions, we'd leave it at that. You can always watch my videos on each of these other topics in detail on Substack. Please keep learning. Please stay curious. It's the best way to grow and develop. This is all a combination of ability, knowledge, and no one knows everything. So there's no single way, right or wrong way to carry out things, these actions. So try to keep an open mind, as we said, and try different things to see what works for you. If you enjoyed this session and want to learn more, please give me the thumbs up or comment with any topics that you want me to cover in the future. I quite enjoy this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And as I always, you can come back to watch this recording on Substack. You can find free resources on Substack, and thank you so much for giving me your time. I really enjoy it when you ask me things, and I learn from that, and I interact with you, and we get to talk and think things through together. So thank you for that. It's much appreciated. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any suggestions or comments, please send them to me. And Thank you very much. I think Talha is saying thank you for your question. Appreciate it. Um, appreciate your time. Appreciate your kind words. Um, have a lovely evening and see you again soon. By the way, I go live on Substack every Sunday as well. So if you want, go on Substack, and follow me there or subscribe to my newsletter over there because that's where I answer direct questions. I get questions. Last time it was around sponsorship, traveling for work, salary negotiations. We talked a lot about a lot of practical things over there. So see you there. Thank you very much. Take care and enjoy your evening.